All right, that should be coming up soon. Okay, there we go. So Sun Silver, ASX code SS1. So investment highlights, we are the largest silver asset on the ASX in pre-production. We're getting larger. We've been drilling the last couple of months, and where we're drilling up in the northwest of the Maverick Springs deposit is getting higher grade and wider. And the silver supply is rapidly depleting. So the Silver Survey Institute released a forecast recently that for 2024 the silver market is going to be in a deficit of 282 million ounces this year. What does that mean? That's about a 30% supply deficit, and it's been in a supply deficit for the past 4 years, on average about 20% year on year. So supply is running out, and it's getting shorter. So a breakdown of our mineral resource estimate. There's 423 million ounces of silver equivalent at a grade of 67.25 grams a tonne. That's made up of 253 million ounces of pure silver at 40.25 grams a tonne, with a gold credit of 2 million ounces, a big credit, at 0.32 grams a tonne. Now, we're in Nevada, and all our neighbours are producing at those grades or lower for all-in sustaining costs of around $1,000 to $1,400 an ounce. So that is good grade for the area we're in. A bit of a comparison to our ASX peers, pure silver plays in pre-production. No one really comes close except for the Bowden asset, which is held by Silver Mines. They've got 189 million ounces of pure silver at 29 grams a tonne, and we sit over 60 million ounces higher at 253 million ounces at 40 grams a tonne, so 30% higher grade. And we're in carbonate host rock, which is a metamorphized limestone. It's really soft, really easy to mine, really low cost bulk tonnage projects. Corporate summary, we've got 144 million shares on issue. The market cap, as of 2 days ago when we did the presentation over in Sydney, was 73 cents. Today, I think it closed to 83 cents. Have to keep rewriting these prezos because the share price keeps going up. So that puts us at a market cap of about $120 million as of today. We only IPO'd 6 months ago at 20 cents. So we've returned over 4 times to our shareholders in that time. And we have cash at bank as of the 30th of September, $13.5 million. That's in part due to a capital raise that we did 1 month ago. In that raise, I'd like to talk about Nokomis, who's a US long fund who came in and has taken 9.5% of our register. A lot of investors in Australia aren't familiar with Nokomis, but they're very famous over in the US. They have an average hold time of 7 years. They're a value fund, and they look for large resource assets of their class and at an early stage, and they hold. One of those was Agnico Eagle. They invested in them 7 years ago when they were a couple $100 million. They're $40 billion today. Last year, the fund returned 85%. Past performance is not supposed to be a future indicator, but over in the US, they like to look at past performance, and they're certainly performing well. They actually paid a premium of 80 cents when we did the raise. We closed at around 70 cents. I guess they paid a premium because they thought we looked like good value. Going on to the team, board and management, our executive director, Gerard O'Donovan, was the ex-MD of Battery Age Minerals. Prior to that, he worked with Pilbara Minerals, where he led the development, commissioning and ramp-up of their Pilgangoora mine, and also led the integration of their Altura asset. Dino Segovic, our non-executive chair, was the founding director of the Primero Group and their chief operating officer. Primero Group is a really highly regarded engineering, construction and procurement company. They were bought out by NRW about 2 years ago. Nathan Ma, non-executive director, qualified metallurgist over 20 years, has delivered over 10 projects, 2 of those being large silver mines, 1 in PNG, 1 in Argentina. And our on-the-ground exploration manager, Robbie Anderson, he has worked in Nevada for 17 years as an exploration geologist, 5 years at Newmont, and the last 2 years he was with Rochester on their Kua development, which is the largest silver producer now in America and in Nevada. So going into Nevada, where we are located, they call Nevada the Silver State, and up here in the northwest, they produce around 75% of the US's gold and silver. The Carlin Trend, where we are, is soft carbonate host rock. So it's a compressed limestone, and what you tend to find with the ore bodies up here is a lot of them tend to be quite low grade, but they're very consistent, tabular, and predictable. And pretty much every drill hole that we inherited has intercepted mineralisation, and consistently. Nevada's been ranked the #1 mining jurisdiction in the world by the Fraser Institute in 2022, and in the last 10 years it's been voted top 3 every year. No other region in the world has had that. A lot of people in Australia think West Australia is the best mining jurisdiction in the world, but it's only ranked in the top 3 in the Fraser Institute 6 times out of the last 10 years. It's been dropping back recently. We're 85 kilometres from Elko. It's a fully serviced mining town. It's like Kalgoorlie on steroids. There's a cat dealership there with equipment. As far as the eye can see, we drove along past it for 1.5 kilometres. Everything you could dream of, every engineering company, 12 drill contractors. We're an hour's drive from Elko, pretty much fully sealed roads all the way. Just a quick overview of M&A in the area. There's been a lot recently. Jerritt Canyon was purchased by First Majestic for $500 million recently. Some other ones here that you can see as well. But what I want to draw your attention to is our neighbour 20 kilometres to the south, the Bald Mountain asset. That's producing at, I think it's 0.38 or 0.39 grams a tonne head grade gold, very similar to our head grade, at an all-in sustaining cost of $900 an ounce. That was purchased by Kinross nearly 10 years ago for $610 million US when the gold price was half. Now, I want to bring this up and draw your attention to it because when they purchased it, it had 5 million ounces of gold at a grade of 0.5 grams a tonne. There's less than 2 years reserve left. Our gold equivalent and the same type of material is 5 million ounces at just shy of a gram a tonne. So I wonder what they'd pay for us now. So here's a map of other operating assets within the area around a 150 kilometre radius around us. There's 18 all up, so you can see it's a highly active area. Zooming in on the map to some of the neighbours in the area. Here's the Rochester mine that I mentioned earlier. Whoop, hang on. There we go. So this one here, I want to draw your attention to this. This is where Robbie Anderson, our exploration manager, worked. That's operating profitably at $23.90 an ounce, all-in sustaining cost, at 12 grams a tonne. We're 6 times that grade, and in the expansion projects they just did, they're now forecasting that they'll be operating at $14 an ounce. They're printing cash. Over here, people would consider that's low grade. Over there, that's making money. And then here's the Bald Mountain asset that's just to the south of us, directly connected by a road 20 kilometres away. So going into the asset, this is the tenement land package. The guys are up there drilling up in the northwest. There's a water well up there as well that we use, that we have full permitting for. There's access roads all throughout the site. We inherited 60,000 metres of historical drilling. This is what the resource ore body looks like, big tabular ore body. Every single one of these drill intercepts that you're looking at, they've pretty much drilled them all vertical. The reason they've done that is it's quite soft ground and tricky to drill, and the rods sometimes get stuck. But what it does show is nearly every single drill hole has intercepted mineralisation, and it's actually open in all directions. So we've had more hits than Mike Tyson's career. When we were looking at the data that we inherited, you can see here the consistent intercepts all the way through. We found that there were some really great grades up in the northwest section, so 142 metres at 71 grams a tonne, and over 100 metres at over 100 gram a tonne. And so we focused in on this region here, and found this hotspot of a really high grade, wider intercept zone that hadn't been followed up. So that's where we're focusing on now. There's some brecciated silicified outcrops up to 1.2 kilometres away from the existing resource. So the existing resource is this section here in yellow. We're drilling in this section here now to see how far out it extends. And the guys are finding that it's actually getting higher grade and wider. So we've had some stunning intercepts happening up there, but also while we've been drilling up there, we've also found that there's antimony consistently throughout all the drill cores, which has been in the news recently for China banning it. And there being only one resource in the US, that it's their most critical mineral, they're looking for it. Our resource was never historically assayed for anything other than silver and gold. The XRF we've taken into the core shed and gone over it, and there's antimony consistently throughout the resource on the XRF. So we're looking at following up and assaying and seeing how much antimony is actually in the deposit. Of the drill program, there's been about 10 assays received, all of them intercepting higher grade, wider intercepts. There's about 10 more to come. What does that mean for the asset and the resource? This green section you're looking at here is the extended resource where we've been drilling at the moment. And because of the scale and the size of the resource being so massive, 423 million ounces, what you're looking at, this section here, which is the historic, the average is about 20 metre intercepts. When we get out to here, where we've been drilling at the moment, it's getting up to 5 times as wide and up to 3 or 4 times the grade. So there's a theory developing, because it's still open, that the actual largest part of the resource is up to the northwest. It's getting larger and higher grade. So a few days ago, we tested a theory that the structures that are running north to south along the deposit, where it's actually hosting high grade. I mentioned earlier that all of the drill holes have just been drilled vertically for issues with the soft ground. It was the first time we tested this theory that drilling along those structures on an angled hole would actually yield high grade intercepts. We had nearly a 17 metre intercept at about 490 grams per tonne silver equivalent, with a component of 1,249 grams per tonne silver. That's our highest grade intercept to date throughout the 67,000 metres of drilling. So it's not inconclusive, but it's 1 from 1 on that theory. We had to end the hole in mineralisation because the hole collapsed, trapping the rod. It was an RC drill rig. We're going to follow that up with diamond core and see if we can actually get higher grade along those structures. We also had 1% antimony assayed in that hole as well. So what's next in the field? We're going to continue drilling, extensional drilling, to see how big the deposit actually gets, and we're also going to do some infill drilling, primarily starting on the south section of the property, where under the historic foreign resource estimate NI 43-101, 30% of the resource was actually indicated already, but because it was done pre-2012, it's not JORC compliant. We can very simply twin some of those holes and get that portion up to being indicated. So in summary, we are the biggest on the ASX, silver asset in pre-production by a long shot. We're getting larger. We're going to be bringing up the resource classification next year with infill drilling and exploring the antimony throughout the deposit and doing further met test work. Thank you very much.